There we go. Oh, look at that. Just a beautiful fish. Got that on that Fred right there. Super cool. Hey there, Salt Strong family. This is Pat Ogletree, and in this video, I want to share with you 3 tips, 3 hacks that I use whenever I am scouting a new area, looking for a place to fish whenever I get to, a state or an area that I've never been to before and I need to catch some fish. So we all are familiar with the trends, how the fish are going to react during a certain time of year, whether, right now when this is being filmed is in the summertime, it's hot outside, it's typically an early morning bite, that you want to fish when blowing points near deep water. And then in the wintertime, it's going to be the opposite, where you want to get wind protected, let that bottom heat up a little bit. So there's these trends that are normally in throughout the year that will fluctuate. And the tips that I'm going to give you is not about those. It's not necessarily about following the trends or, using a, specific type of lure. You got to use this lure. So I'm going to give you 3 tips, 3 hacks that I use whenever I'm scouting out a new area, looking for a place to fish so I can get some fish in the boat. So the first one that I'm going to do is know your skill set. So hack number 1 is know your skill set. And what I mean by that is whenever you're inshore fishing, typically you can categorize your skill set in a certain, are you a marsh fisherman? Do you like fishing flats? Do you like fishing docks? Do you like fishing inlets and jetties, that type of thing? If that's your strong point, then you'll want to look for those types of structures in this new area that you're going to be fishing, because that's what you're confident in. Now, I'm not saying that, you don't have to learn how to fish these areas, but when you're going to a new spot, you want to fish your strong points. You want to fish the areas that you have the most confidence in. For me, I'm a marsh guy, I'm a flats guy. So whenever I go to a new area, and even though there's a lot of places that will hold fish in certain times a year, I'm going to look for the flats and the marsh. And when you're on a trip, confidence is king. With fishing in general, confidence is king. If you can get off to a quick start and get some fish in the boat, that's going to boost your confidence. And fishing a lot of times is about confidence. So say in the area that you fish at, say you fish in Galveston and you're really good at fishing the jetties, and you want to go fish in Port Isabel, down south, then you probably want to start out fishing the jetties in Port Isabel, get those fish in the boat, get that confidence up. And then if you want to go exploring, fishing, a different area that's, is maybe marsh or, something like that you're not used to, then you can move on to that. But you want to get those fish in the boat and get your confidence level up quickly. So say you're fishing in an area that doesn't have the type of area that you're normally good at, your confidence area. Say you're good at marshes, but this place doesn't have any marshes in it. Maybe it's all grass flats. That's when it's important to have a community of friends out there that you can ask questions on. You better bet that whenever a pro redfish angler is going to go fish a tournament in a state that he's not from, he's got people that he can call to find out what those trends are. So having a community like the one that we have at Salt Strong, where we've got over 30,000 people that you can ask a question, and it's basically a group of people that is there to help you catch more fish and help you put more fish in the boat. And that's imperative when it comes to fishing a new area, especially when you don't have much confidence in the area at all. Another thing that you can do if you're in the area is go to a local bait shop. If you're going to go there, pick up some, some odds and ends, some tackle, some stuff that you need, and ask those guys there. So the bait shop is, it's there to obviously sell bait and make some money, and they want you to be able to catch fish because they want you to return as a customer. So bait shops are usually a really good place to find information, find local information, find out what the trends are. And if you got any questions on the style of fishing that you're going to do that you might not know, that's another place. So communities like our Salt Strong community, that's one. And then bait shop, that's another good place to find local intel. So if you're unfamiliar with Salt Strong, we do have a community, like I said earlier, that has 30,000 anglers that are helping people catch fish and put more fish in the boat that have local knowledge. And there's also 6 other coaches like me that are in there daily. And you can actually, there's a feature in there that you can ask a coach a question and one of us will get back with you to help you with the situation that you're dealing with. So the third thing I want to talk about is using your confidence bait. So when you're going to an area that you're unfamiliar with, something that you've never fished before, this isn't the time to experiment with lures that you've never used before, techniques that you've never used before. You should have a confidence bait or a handful of confidence baits that you can use, that you know how to work that lure and what the expectations are when you go to a new area. And for me, I want to have a lure that will work each of the water columns. Say a lure that's going to work the upper water column, another lure that's going to work the middle of the water column, and another lure that's going to work the bottom of the water column. And this is just to make sure that you've got the whole area covered whenever you're going to be out on the water. You know, if the fish are feeding on the surface, you want to make sure and have something that'll catch them there. And if they're all the way down at the bottom, you want to have something that'll catch them there. So for me, what I like to do is I'm going to use baits. I have 3 baits that I know that I have absolute confidence in, and the first one is you know, a topwater lure like this one here. That is the Moonwalker. I really like this lure. There are a lot of topwaters out there. The reason why I like this one is because it's very versatile. I know in most topwater situations, whether it's dead calm out there or there's a considerable chop, I can work that lure in different ways to be able to catch fish if they're feeding up on the surface. If they're closer to that surface and they're feeding that way, I know I can use that Moonwalker. And it's a good idea to have a confidence in a topwater bait, whatever that might be. But for me, it's that Moonwalker. So the Moonwalker is going to be the one that I'm going to use to cover the top of the water column. Now, the one that I'm going to use for the middle of the water column is going to be this one right here. This is basically a 3.5-inch paddle tail. There's a lot of different paddle tails out there that work. This one is the one that I'll use. It's our 2.0 series. Now, this one is what we call the Gold Digger color, which is pretty much a black with some gold flake on it. And I have that rigged on a rigging hook right here. That's a Haas Helix and a 3/0 with a 1/8 ounce. Now, a lot of times, because like I was saying earlier, my confidence is fishing marshes and it's fishing flats. So I'm fishing in that 1 to 3 foot depth range. So I'm going to put that on an 1/8 ounce, and I typically will fish that weedless. And the reason why I like fishing that one weedless on that rigging hook is because a rigging hook has a little bit more action than a jig head because it'll have more side-to-side wobble. I like that, and the fact that a lot of the marshes and a lot of the grass flats, they do have things that you can get hung up on, especially oyster beds and you know, grass. And that weedless hook does a great job of keeping your lure moving through the water and not stuck on the bottom. Now, I showed you the Gold Digger. That's a really good color when I'm fishing in off-color, dark, stained, muddy water. My other 2 confidence colors, now these aren't the only colors that they make them in. I'm just showing you my confidence ones. This one right here is the Slam Shady, which is, you know, it's basically a white with a silver and a gold flake to it. This one is a really popular color. Matter of fact, it's one of our most popular colors. I'm pretty sure that this one is our best seller right here. But I use this one in clear to slightly off-colored water. And then the other one that I like using is our Fred. And the Fred is a pink color that's got a little silver flake to it. And that one I like using in tannic water. It does really, really good in tannic water, or maybe even water that's got a slight green tint to it. Between those 3 colors, that's what I would rotate out. And I'm going to start out with the color that I think is going to work best with that water clarity. But that's going to be the one that I'm going to use in the middle of the water column. Now, when it comes to the bottom of the water column, I am going to use the Slam Shady Jerk. I really like this lure. Now, one thing I like about this lure is it will actually imitate a wounded baitfish and a shrimp at the same time. So if they're keyed in on either one of them, this jerk bait, depending on the way that you work it, will imitate either one of those. Now, the reason why that one is a confidence bait for me is whenever I was fishing before, when I did a lot of fishing before, I was a bass guy. And this lure actually was an easy transition from the bass world to the inshore side because I did use this a lot of bass fishing and it works great in inshore, so I already had built-in confidence in it, and that's what you should be looking for. So if you're new to the saltwater fishing inshore game, maybe you are like me and you came from the bass world, if you have a confidence bait that works on bass, more than likely that's going to work on inshore fish too. So if you're looking to try any one of these lures out, check out fishstrong.com. I'll put the link down below and you might just find your new confidence bait there. I definitely did find mine there. So to do a recap, first what you want to do is make sure that you are fishing your strong points. Make sure you're fishing areas that you are confident in. Again, it's not a time to go out there and try to fish a brand new area doing a technique that you're not used to. Try to get fish in the boat quickly, build up your confidence, and then move on from there. Secondly, if you don't know that technique, if you're in an area where you're not familiar with that type of fishing, then ask questions. Get a community, get a group of friends, go to a bait shop, whatever it takes to get some information on the local intel there that will help you out. It's definitely hard and it raises that difficulty level up a lot whenever you're fishing a brand new area and you're trying a technique or a lure that you're not used to. So you want to keep the familiarity to the normal that you can, what you're used to using, but if not, start asking questions. And lastly, make sure you're using your confidence bait. Make sure you're using something that you know that you can put on the end of your line and you can definitely catch fish with. Whenever you have confidence in that lure, then you can start paying attention more to what's going on around you and being more observant. So a lot of times what's happening on the water is it's not the lure that's finding the fish, it's you're finding the fish, and you find the fish through observation, paying attention with what's going on you. The lure just catches the fish, but the lure cannot make a fish appear. So go out there and use your confidence bait. That way you can be aware of your surroundings and make those changes that you need to without having to worry about if that's the right lure for the job. So I hope this helps you out and I hope this helps you put some more fish in the boat. And if you've got any questions or comments on this, put those down below. And if you've got some techniques that you like to use whenever you're fishing brand new water, I'd like to hear from those too. It helps us all out. And if you're new to Salt Strong, just know that we are the best online fishing club in America, where we guarantee that we will help you catch more fish like sea trout, redfish, snook, and flounder, while saving you money on all the inshore tackle you need, and you'll make friends fast or it's free. For more information, go to saltstrong.com. And until then, we hope to see you in the Insider Club soon. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.